The chosen undergo intense trials during adolescence. This is the period when spiritual awakening begins intensifying. Doubts multiply. Emotions seem to live perpetually at the surface. It's not uncommon for many chosen to face feelings of profound isolation, alienation, or inadequacy. But understand this clearly. It doesn't happen by chance. These internal battles are part of your spiritual growth process. It's as if your soul is being refined, purified, so you gradually align with your divine purpose. And as if that weren't enough, many chosen sense that while they struggle internally, they simultaneously attract external challenges. Life grows more difficult, situations become more complicated, relationships feel more demanding. This is completely normal for those separated for greater missions. The trials appearing during adolescence function as tests, ways the universe prepares you for the responsibilities approaching. The universe never places in your life something you cannot overcome. But in the moment, it can feel impossibly heavy. The pressure of being different, of carrying something so immense, it can seem too burdensome. Perhaps you felt during this phase that doors seemed to close, that things simply didn't work out for you the way they did for others. But that sensation that the world opposed you was actually a sign that the path the universe prepared was uniquely yours. You weren't called to follow the crowd. You weren't called to live an ordinary life. This is a truth difficult to accept, especially when you're still discovering who you actually are. While your friends celebrated, attended parties, followed society's expected paths, you felt restlessness. Perhaps you forced yourself to try fitting in, to act like others. But deep within, that quiet voice persisted, "This isn't for you." And the more you tried ignoring it, the more insistent it became, reminding you that your mission was different. The internal struggle. Adolescence as preparation. The internal struggle of the chosen during adolescence is intense, but it carries profound purpose. Every moment of doubt, every internal conflict, every tear you shed was part of a larger process. The universe was shaping you, preparing you for what was coming. That sensation of not belonging, of being lost, it was your soul adjusting to the true path you were meant to walk. And even though you didn't understand the struggle then, it was the beginning of your awakening. It was as if the universe was calling you progressively louder, inviting you to recognize what you've always been, chosen. Even though you tried escaping this truth, it pursued you. And as painful as that phase was, it was essential. It allowed you eventually to begin embracing your authentic identity. The world tried convincing you to become someone you weren't. Society offered templates for how to live, what to achieve, who to become. But something within you refused. And that refusal, that resistance, wasn't rebellion. It was integrity. It was your soul protecting itself until the moment you'd be ready to claim your true nature. Every moment of feeling inadequate was actually preparation for genuine self-understanding. Every time you felt different, your spirit was separating itself from the false and moving toward the authentic. The transition. Adult life and spiritual awakening. The transition into adult life represents a crucial turning point for the chosen. After adolescence marked by doubt and internal conflict, pieces of the puzzle begin fitting together. What previously seemed a confusing mixture starts making sense. You begin perceiving that the experiences you've lived held greater purpose than you could have imagined. The awakening during this life phase is like lightning illuminating darkness. Suddenly, everything becomes clear. You begin recognizing that not only has life shaped you, but an invisible force, a spiritual presence, has accompanied you from the beginning. In this moment, many chosen feel summoned to something more elevated, something transcending worldly concerns. That internal voice which once whispered begins speaking louder, demanding your attention. It's no longer possible to ignore. Your spirit is awakening. And with this awakening comes deeper comprehension of who you truly are. Situations that previously frustrated you, that seemed to lead nowhere, now begin making sense. Each obstacle, each challenge overcome. You perceive it all as preparation for what's approaching. Spiritual awakening in adult life is marked by a sensation of clarity. The doubts that tormented your mind in youth begin dissipating. In their place emerges certainty. You were chosen for a unique mission. Yet this awakening isn't always peaceful. For many chosen, reaching adult life brings even greater pressure. Daily responsibilities, society's expectations, even family bonds can become sources of tension. You feel pulled in multiple directions simultaneously, as if the world wants to trap you in an ordinary routine. But something within you resists. You know you weren't made for conformist existence. This creates constant conflict between what's expected and what your spirit desires. The calling becomes undeniable. For the chosen, adult life is when spiritual mission begins revealing itself more evidently. Perhaps you felt an irresistible pull towards seeking more answers, more meaning, more purpose. This thirst for understanding is part of your calling. You're not here simply to live an ordinary life. Your destiny is far greater than following the world's rules. Many chosen begin experiencing more intense spiritual encounters during adult life. Perhaps you've had vivid dreams, repeated signs, or encounters with people who appeared precisely when needed. These aren't coincidences. They're the universe reminding you, calling you to accept your authentic identity and embrace the path traced for you from the beginning. But with awakening comes responsibility. You can no longer deny who you are. Life may continue presenting distractions, difficulties, temptations designed to pull you from your path. But your spirit has recognized truth. The more you try fleeing this calling, the heavier it becomes. Awakening is a point of no return. From here forward, you cannot live with eyes closed. Each step is observed, guided, and protected by a greater force. And that same force will sustain you as you begin assuming your role as one of the chosen. Adult life also brings the necessity of making conscious choices. While the world around you remains distracted by modern illusions, you're called to look beyond, to perceive truth few can see. Spiritual awakening places you in a position of clarity, but also of solitude. You may sense that as you advance on your path, you grow more distant from people who once comprised your life. This doesn't mean you're alone. It means you're being elevated to a higher spiritual level where few can follow. The point of manifestation. We arrive at a crucial moment for the chosen, the point where divine purpose begins manifesting clearly and undeniably. After years of silent preparation, internal struggle, and spiritual awakening, you begin comprehending that your life is part of something vastly greater, a plan transcending ordinary human understanding. At this point, it's no longer merely about who you are, it's about why you're here. The weight of this responsibility is immense, but it's also liberating. You were chosen for a special mission. Now is the time to act. Perhaps until now you felt your life was an endless sequence of tests and trials that seemed to have no end. But now everything begins making sense. Each challenge overcome was preparation. Each disappointment, each loss, each tear shed, they were divine tools shaping you for this exact moment. And here's the most powerful truth. You've never been alone in your journey. God has always been beside you, guiding your steps even when you couldn't perceive His purpose. Your mission isn't coincidence or accident. It's a divine calling that's always lived within you, waiting for the right moment to bloom. Now that you've awakened to this reality, the next step is assuming the role destined for you. Being chosen isn't merely a spiritual title. It's a responsibility requiring action. The world needs you, your light, your wisdom. Your gifts are essential components of God's plan to transform your surroundings. And here's a secret. Many chosen take time understanding. Your purpose isn't only in the future, it's already happening now. Every action you take, however small it seems, is contributing to this larger plan's realization. The call to action. The call to action has never been more important. Now, more than ever, you're summoned to align your choices with your purpose. This may mean releasing certain things, habits, relationships, old thought patterns. As chosen, your mission no longer permits attachment to what doesn't serve you spiritually. The path you must follow is clear, but it requires courage. Courage to be different, courage to swim against the current, courage to face criticism and confused gazes from those who don't understand your journey. But you weren't chosen to please everyone. You were chosen to serve a greater purpose. And that's what matters. The chosen often feel pressure to be examples for others. This responsibility can seem overwhelming. But remember, God didn't place you in this position by accident. He gave you the strength and gifts necessary to fulfill your mission. Sometimes you may doubt yourself, questioning whether you truly measure up to this calling. But know this, doubt is merely part of your journey. Every chosen passes through moments of insecurity. But in these moments, your faith must be strongest. When you feel you have no remaining strength, remember, divine strength has always lived within you, waiting to be activated. This is the moment when your purpose begins influencing not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Your presence, your words, even your actions have greater impact than you realize. People may be drawn to you, seeking counsel or comfort without understanding why. This is a sign your light shines stronger. Your purpose is being a lighthouse for those lost, guiding them towards spiritual truth. And through this, you fulfill the plan God designed for you from your first breath. The path forward. Yet being chosen doesn't mean the path will be easy. In fact, the closer you move toward fulfilling your purpose, the more challenges arise. This happens because the world around you may resist transformation. But here's something you must remember. Challenges are confirmation that you're on the right path. Each obstacle you face is an opportunity for growth, a chance to prove to yourself and the universe that you're prepared to fulfill your destiny. And with each victory, however small, you move closer to fully realizing your divine purpose. This is the moment to make conscious decisions, to choose living according to what you were called to do. The season of hesitation has passed. Now you must act with confidence, knowing the universe conspires in your favor. Everything you need is already within you. The gifts you've received, the experiences you've lived, the wisdom you've accumulated. These are the tools you'll use to fulfill your mission. Each step forward from this moment is a step toward realizing this divine plan. Now that you understand the grandeur of your journey, don't let this truth pass unnoticed. You are chosen. The world needs your light. It's time to act, reflect, and connect. Take this moment to reflect on everything you've experienced. Consider how it's been shaping you to fulfill your purpose, how each phase of your life, the confusion of adolescence, the pressures of adulthood, the awakening, has been preparing you for this moment. And I invite you to share in the comments. How has your awakening unfolded? Where are you watching from? I genuinely love learning more about you. And if this message touched your heart, subscribe to this channel. Leave your engagement. Activate notifications. Your journey is just beginning, and I'm here with you at each step. Together we'll grow. May God bless you always and guide your path forward with clarity and strength. We'll meet again in the next message.